There are all kinds of people who don't work, who don't help produce, but who consume. And if there are people who consume but don't produce, then the people who do produce have to produce extra in order for those who don't work to consume. That's true in every human society, Marx tells us.
Landlords, master lords, and kings, employers with the golden rings, feeding off the weary and the weak, in every era the same old critique, a justified scavenger, the truth laid bare, exploitation stain everywhere. The player sits back and stares while I blast that truth critique everywhere. Back to the workstation, back to the plantation, surplus draining the E, the B, draining the tears of Jesus. To my amazement, they can't even say amen without the bloodshed. Unfed kids starving, scavengers surrounding the carcasses, work that motherfucker right to the bone after. Celebrate the life with the written headstone, but who couldn't get a damn home loan? It's pathetic and horrific to leave this much power to the scavengers. No liberty, only the strangulation, until the day comes for emancipation. Literally a fee that humanity must pay to destroy the traditions of the Chevrolet overlay. Landlords, master lords, and kings, employers with the golden rings, feeding off the weary and the weak, in every era the same old critique, a justified scavenger, the truth laid bare, exploitation stain everywhere. The player sits back and stares while I blast that truth critique everywhere.
Slaves do all work. In fact, the way slavery works, everything the slave produces, even the slave, is the property of the master.
I can see that you caught the surplus drift. You can even see the facelift of Taylor Swift, when a passion for fashion turns into fascist. America used to set a higher standard bar. Now you only get subjective lyricists with 3 chords on a guitar. Now a demise scavenger in disguise, only to make money to comfort the lies, and all that applies. The apple pie is left to rot for the Lord of the Flies. With suits and ties, give them a high five. No surprise when you die. Landlords, master lords, and kings, employers with the golden rings, feeding off the weary and the weak, in every era the same old critique, justified scavenger, the truth laid bare, exploitation stain everywhere. The player sits back and stares while I blast that truth critique everywhere.
Feudal lords get the surplus produced by the mass of the workers, who are called serfs. And now Marx draws
the sedative is worker cooperatives. Live and let live the past economic systems that produce the vicious wishes of decapitation, captured in paintings and writings of perception. A description that only the justified scavenger wants to erase or evade with a fairy tale, or at a by and large scale. The nail has been hit on the head, like the slaves and the serfs. With the employees must prevail, or let the scavenger feast on the flesh of the unrest. Let the time test. Landlords, master lords, and kings, employers with the golden rings, feeding off the weary and the weak, in every era the same old critique, a justified scavenger, the truth laid bare, exploitation stain everywhere. The player sits back and stares while I blast that truth critique everywhere. Landlords, master lords, and kings, employers with the golden rings, feeding off the weary and the weak, in every era the same old critique, justified scavenger, the truth laid bare, exploitation stain everywhere. The player sits back and stares while I blast that truth critique everywhere.
Capitalism, he said, was very critical of slavery before it. Capitalism promised freedom, liberty, equality, fraternity, democracy would come with their changes, and they believed it sincerely. But what we've come to see, Marx said, was something different from what was promised. We don't have the liberty, equality, and fraternity. What we got was a new system that's different from the old. We don't have slaves. We don't have serfs. But we have something called employers and employees. And what that means is that a mass of people, the employees, do the work and produce an enormous surplus, which is in the hands of the employers, who use it to live high on the hog and to hire a vast array of people that they can sustain who don't work at all in terms of producing goods and services.